Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a podcast by Practical E-Commerce.
What's going on, Internet? It is Eric Banholz here with another e-commerce conversation. Got another special guest in here, Raphael Schneider, and another person from Not America who...
That's right.
Yeah, I'll let him say his name in a little bit. But today is going to be a really special topic, and it's going to be about building content on YouTube and using that to grow your business. I think... one of the themes you may see in this building a business scenario or podcast series is there's a lot of information that we're going to do in regards to building content. And it's a really important part. So I want to hand it over to you to reintroduce yourself and talk about your brands and your business.
All right, Eric. Yeah, my name is Sven Raphael Schneider. I'm from Germany originally. I'm in the US, and I founded Gentleman's Gazette, which is a content site, and then we added on Fort Belvedere, which is our label, our brand for high-quality men's clothing and accessories, such as like ties, scarves, gloves, you name it, all classic style related.
Yeah, very, very dapper, very cool, very timeless, but also like very stylish. Like I feel like it's not... It stands on its own.
Yeah, we never wanted to be kind of mass market. It's really what I like, what my style is, and I like it because I can wear it today or 10 years from now, and it will stand out in ways. Sometimes it is more subtle, sometimes it's maybe a little louder, but it's always noticeable, and it makes people think more highly of you, respect you more, think you have more money, think you're smarter. And it helped me personally, and it's just what I want to bring to the world.
Yeah, yeah. So when did you launch Gentleman's Gazette?
2010 in February. So
oh, gee, man, 8 years.
A little while ago.
Yeah. Now, did it start off as a YouTube channel, or?
Absolutely not. I mean, YouTube at the time was pretty fresh. Blogging was the hot thing back then, and we started with content. And the idea was to basically just have a Huffington Post model where you write content, have ads. We realized that it wasn't so easy, and people were asking for products, and we decided, why don't we make them? It was primarily stuff that I had a hard time finding, and I wanted to have, and I realized other people were asking for it too, so it was just a natural progression into, think of it, finding the last quality craftsmen around the world and have them make good stuff. So we don't just produce in one country or one thing, but we always say, okay, what is the best location for that? And oftentimes in Europe you have little towns, where for the last 300 years 100 families have done nothing but that one thing, so they build a great expertise in it. So we kind of manufacture there and then source the material from where it's best and so forth.
So you launched the blog 2010.
Yes.
The brand Fort Belvedere, and
we conceptualized it I think like late 2011, but we didn't launch the store proper until like 2012, 2013.
Okay. And then the YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel, actually, we dabbled in it very early on, like 2010. Mm-hmm. And just with like a Panasonic Lumix camera, it could shoot like 720p, which at the time was quite good. Mm-hmm. But I felt like I didn't have money, so I couldn't really produce the production quality that I wanted. So that was really holding me back. And we didn't really properly continue anything out until 2014 or 2015. And looking back, that was a mistake. I should have just done it like people, for example, Aaron Marino from Alpha Ammo, who just started. Mm-hmm. And if I had done that today, our YouTube channel would probably 10, 15 times the size it is today. Yeah. But, you live and learn.
Well, what do they say is like the best day to start something is today?
Absolutely.
So,
Exactly.
you can't go back in time and wish for something different, and you also shouldn't drag your feet.
That's true. At the same time, I think, we got into YouTube at a time, 4 years ago or so, where it wasn't a hot thing yet, right? People weren't doing it, and we had some success with content, but I realized, okay, how many, Facebook pages are in our space? Hundreds of thousands. How many Instagram accounts in our space? Hundreds of thousands. How many blogs are there? Thousands. How many YouTube channels are there? 5. So for me, it was like the competition there is so much smaller. So I want to go into that space. And also, it takes a lot less money to take a really great picture. It takes a lot of money to produce a really nice video consistently. Yeah. And so for me, the fact that it's more expensive and more difficult to produce means it keeps out all the amateurs, which is where I want to be. I don't just want to compete with other people. And same with podcasts. The barriers to entry of a good podcasts are a lot lower than a good YouTube channel.
So your channel is, what's the current subscriber rate? And you guys are getting like millions of views, right?
Yes, right now we get 2.2 to 2.4 million views a month, but that's up almost 100% from like last year. Subscribers now is 360,000, I think, and we're growing about 30,000 a month. That being said, I'm a big believer in looking at what YouTube values the most, which is watch time, then views. And subscribers to me are absolutely irrelevant because I can have millions of subscribers, and if no one's watching, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's definitely an ego metric, and you kind of don't realize that until...
It's what people like, PR agencies or people on the street are like, oh my God, you have 300,000 subscribers. Yeah, I mean, I've seen channels with like 7 million subscribers that have fewer views than we do. And so it's like, wow, yeah, you're subscribed. What does that mean, right? YouTube changed the subscriber status that you have to hit the bell so you're notified. And while it can't hurt to have subscribers, it's a vanity metric that will not move your business forward.
Yeah. So let's talk about your YouTube strategy. How are you utilizing it and your content strategy?
Okay. We always wanted to produce really quality content that is helpful to people and valuable. So we started out, and didn't know so much. So if you look at our earlier videos and then go through the more recent ones, you can see a clear progression in the way I speak. And we just try to provide good how-to guides. We try to show people what's quality, what's not, how they can distinguish it. And it's not very salesy. So we don't do a lot of videos where it's just about one individual product. We've played with those. You don't get a lot of views for those, and they don't really bring in new people. We rather try to educate people and show them all the things that are out there and provide a lot of value, even for things that we don't sell, but they're related to what we do. And that drives leads and people. And now I would say, based on our numbers, YouTube is about as strong as our email channel, which traditionally has always been our strongest sales channel. But YouTube is growing and will be taking that over soon.
Yeah. How many videos are you producing a day or a week or a month? Or
we try to, right now we publish 2 videos a week, but we film 4 a week. And the goal is to just build a buffer. I think right now we have a buffer of 30 videos, which allows us to kind of, people get sick, stuff happens, right? And you can still publish on your schedule. Once we hit like a certain number, we'll publish 3 times a week and then 4 times a week. And I mean, you did it really well. You outsourced it. And we want to follow that model too, because so far it was just me doing it. And to scale it, you need more hosts and video personalities. So we just hired one. We're training others. And eventually, we want to be in a spot where we can publish once a day or even twice a day, but without sacrificing the quality of our content.
Yeah. I've been watching your channel for the past few years since I got to know you a little better. Raphael and I go back probably 3 or 4 years now.
StyleCon Menfluential was when we first met.
And I remember like when you were just getting started up and you had 15,000 subscribers, and then probably this time last year at our last time we met up for this conference, you were just under 100,000, I believe. So to get like essentially 250,000 new subscribers in a year, can you attribute that to anything significantly different in the way you were producing content?
I'm a big fan of analyzing channels and trying to see what happened to them. And what I've seen so far is you just need a bunch of good videos, usually I would say 300-400. And at that point, what's happening is YouTube starts promoting your videos. And when one video is promoted, all others on your channel are promoted. And then you see a huge spike in your views. And then you have a slight dip again. But now your new normal is like twice or three times what it was before. And so whenever you have these kind of viral videos, it pulls up your entire channel. And you rarely see that with very new channels unless they have exceptional content. I think the only true kind of exception that I've seen was Peter McKinnon, which he does stuff in like the video photo realm, but he was able to grow extremely quickly. For most people in our space, it's like it takes 6-7 years to get to 1 million subscribers, and then one more year to get to the next million, and the views are correlating in that case. So it's just so hard to get started initially, and then you just have to keep going basically. Most people just give up too early because they produce a high quality content video and then they get 32 views and they're like, I invested $4,000 in this, so many hours, and it has returned $0. And so they just give up.
Yeah, and that would really, I mean, I'm going to echo Raphael here. It's, you need to plan on a strategy to get you to 300 videos.
Yes.
So, like, if you want to get into YouTube, you can't just be like, oh, yeah, I got like 10 good video ideas. You got to be like, I need to have 300 good video ideas. And you don't have to have them all right here, but like, what is that system, that process that will help you get there?
Yeah, I think sometimes people tend to want to start with different concepts. The one I think works best probably is if you have really valuable content for your audience. And I can't tell you what that is. List format always works better than non-list. Like 5 things to do, blah, 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 is generally better than just something abstract. But yeah, plan your content out. Try to educate people and be generally helpful in that space. And then once you're at a certain stage, like of followers and subscribers, like Beard Brand is or Gentleman's, because that is now, we could also add a kind of vlog style format, add more lifestyle, because people have come to know the channel, they like the brand, they like what's involved with it. And now you can add a lifestyle element that furthers that connection to the brand. If you just start out with vlogs in the beginning, no one cares about you, it's going to be not successful.
Yeah. Or it's not going to be successful for your first 300 videos.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing. It's not like you just have to make 500 videos in quick succession and then you're set. Like I've seen many channels that have, 800 videos and they still just get 3,000 views per video. So just having volume is not going to help you. Quantity is important, but there needs to be value. Yeah.
You definitely, you and I are both big fans of like analyzing the data, and we've done like thumbnail analysis, and we broke out all the thumbnails, and then we try to look for a pattern for which thumbnails perform the best. And
so what's your hypotheses?
Well, I don't know if I should be giving our secrets away. But essentially what we found is for our barbershop type of videos, that if it was a picture of a person getting their haircut from the back of the head, it actually performed well, which was really surprising.
Because usually you think, face, people connect to faces.
Yeah, or we had like before and after shots and stuff like that.
Yeah. From what we've seen, before and after usually is very good. Good picture quality, like a good photo, less text is better. Don't put the entire title on there. Maybe just have a keyword in bold, because you always have to keep in mind most people watch it on mobile now. So if the font on your is not big enough, they can't see it, or if they just can't recognize stuff in your picture, that doesn't help. I've seen other spaces where they really use like very rainbow colored stuff, so it really stands out. I think it draws attention, but for us, for example, that's just not on brand, so we wouldn't do that. So you have to balance that. But one thing that really helped me in the beginning was to look at the audience retention and just see at what time people actually drop off. So I could say, hey, I said this and the viewership went down, or I said this and it went back up, which meant they were actually rewatching it. So why are they rewatching it? Was something unclear? Was something funny? Was it difficult? And you just realize, hey, if I'm doing a bow tie tutorial on how to tie it, the average retention is almost 100%, because people just go back all the time because they don't get it right and then they want to go back and see it again, right? So that's just a very different one than if I talk about maybe an interview with someone or have a guide on, I don't know, $100 suit versus $1,000 suit.
Yeah. I think, so our audience is e-commerce entrepreneurs. I think the temptation is, how do we utilize YouTube to make those sales, and drive that traffic to our website and make a quick buck or a long-term buck or whatever it may be. What are some mistakes that people are making in the e-commerce space when it comes to their YouTube content?
From what I've seen is that people are very sales driven, so all they do is they create product videos and maybe show how they use them, which is better because there's some value in there. But just doing a video where you put your product on a wide rotating table and show a 360-degree view, maybe with some, not even voiceover, but just text, that stuff doesn't perform, I think. Then the other thing is they neglect the page itself and don't optimize anything. There are no tags, there are no descriptions, no links. One thing that YouTube lets you do once you hit a certain level of subscribers and watch time over the course of a year, you are eligible for ads. As an e-commerce business, you don't really want your ads on there if your primary purpose is to just funnel people to your site. But what it allows you also to do is to add cards in the video, and you can put your links in there. And if you mark them up, you have a pretty good idea of how much revenue you actually get from YouTube. And from talking to others and from our own experience, it's by far the strongest social channel out there.
Yeah. I think, when you get to your size, you've got the opportunity to also monetize your YouTube channel. Is that something you're considering doing or you're currently doing?
Yes. And the reason about it is, there's always different ways to look at it, right? Google says, who owns, or Alphabet, whatever, owns YouTube, they say there is no correlation between ads and what is shown, and that it's completely separate. I always thought, Google wants to provide shareholder value. They want to make money, and they want to keep people as long as possible on YouTube, because the longer they keep people, the longer they watch, the more ads they sell, the more money they make. When we made the switch and turned on our ads, we saw a kind of subscriber gain and we saw an increase. I don't know if that was correlation or causation. I don't know. But for us, it's like, yes, there's so many people who will not buy who watch our YouTube videos because it's a very top of the funnel thing. It's not like Google where they search and they're pretty much down. People on YouTube want to be entertained. They just want to kind of have something that they can take their mind off work or whatever it is. And so for me, it's like putting that brand awareness is really important and great. And especially in a way where it's not pushy, it's just a logo maybe, or they see something. And that can help down the line to create sales. I don't push stuff very hard. I'm not a QVC infomercial in a way, but that's a personal stylistic choice. I don't like to do that. Maybe others can do that more. You have to kind of play a little bit and figure out and see what works. But I would encourage you to not just look at one video because the sample size is too small. You just have to do a larger amount and then have proper tracking in place so you can actually see what's going on.
Yeah. Are you doing any sponsored content as well?
We used to do sponsored content, however, in a very selective way. A lot of people in our space do 3 sponsored videos a week. I think we haven't even had 5 sponsored videos in our entire career. So it's only if it's 100% in line with what we believe and we like the products, and then it makes sense in a way. But because our we have our e-commerce business, right? It just makes more sense for us to focus on our own brand and push that and have this kind of independent voice.
Mm-hmm.
I think for us in the long term, it's stronger than trying to make some money off of sponsored.
Yeah. We kind of have the same thing. We'll do one every quarter or something like that. We'll find a brand deal that works or makes sense for our audience. I also think that, kind of circling back to monetizing your channel, like YouTube's making this big push for like the essentially the job of a YouTuber. So someone who's making money from being on YouTube, and they want to support their creators. And I know there's a lot of drama that goes on YouTube, but I strongly believe that as an organization, they do care about the creator more so than they care about like the algorithm or whatever. So they're trying to build the systems and the processes that kind of work in harmony, and they bring them together. I've even found that when we do like a sponsored video, that will get higher than average views and engagement, because I think like YouTube's like, hey, let's, support this creator a little bit, show this video and help them make their money, and that will bring in more money and then help them create more content essentially.
Yeah. And I mean, YouTube realizes, they're just a platform and they need those people creating the content to help them. So by helping the creators, they're helping themselves, and that's great, and that works for me. I think that for every money or for every dollar you can make from YouTube, you can make 20 or sometimes 100 selling your own products. And I mean, with 100, even in profit. So it's a lot more lucrative to sell your own products. And for us, YouTube is just a fantastic channel.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of the ways that you monetize YouTube is by creating your own product line. What was the decision process? But if you had to go back in time, would you have created Fort Belvedere first and everything under that brand, or do you like having essentially two different brands, the Gentleman's Gazette and Fort Belvedere?
I mean, Gentleman's Gazette was first, and that's how we started, just helping men, providing content that is actionable but well researched and in depth. I liked having it done that way because that meant, we already had a platform, right? We had a platform, and at the time we didn't have money. I guess if I would do something again today all over, I would not start at zero. I would buy a different business or a different content site and then launch it off of there, because now I do have the money. So that's definitely a better way to do it. If I look at brands that started around the same time and they started with a product first, I think they have more revenue today than we did very early on. Again, for us, it wasn't an option. If I had the option, I would start with a product right away and then create a content around that. And I think you, for a while, you had like Urban Beardsmen and then decided, no, we're going to all put it in one. And there are decisions you can make, but it's probably best to start with a product, then create your content marketing strategy around it, and you'll figure it out and you see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. So I've said this before for our businesses, like this is the pathway we've built, we've kind of got to do it. Otherwise you could just make cataclysmic changes to your business that may
I think for us, one thing that is probably different than for other brands, we provide a lot more content than others do. And that costs more money than others spend on it, I guess. But I think in the long term, it'll pay off big time. Because, if you have a YouTube channel where you reach 30, 40, 50 million people a month, just from a branding point of view, it's massive. I mean, even now I'm walking on the street, people recognize me. If I'm in Paris or LA or Minneapolis, doesn't matter. And that power is just not something you can get in different ways.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is the reality is that first video cost $4,000 to make or whatever. And then subsequently, each video from there, it ends up just being your time.
Well, yes, because of course, in the beginning, you don't know anything about gear, right? You don't have all of that, and it costs money. But if you know, hey, I do this a lot, you buy all the gear, you hire people full time, and then you can break it down cost per video. I mean, it's still not cheap. It's still expensive if you honestly add everything up.
What would you say that an entrepreneur should expect on budgeting per video?
I think in the beginning, probably 1,000 to 1,500. But it also depends a bit on where you live. And just like with all kinds of creatives, there are people in all price ranges, right? So, and you have to find someone you can work with who's reliable, who gets stuff done. And then oftentimes at the beginning, you have the videographer and they do the editing, the shooting and everything. Maybe later you just say, hey, I use this guy for shooting and I pay him $50 an hour or $100. And then my editor, he only gets 25 or whatever that is. But you can kind of try to find economies of scale or negotiate deals with different people. Because usually some people are just better at editing. Other people are better at sound.
Yeah.
And others are better at shooting. And yeah.
What final question about more of the content generation? What is your time frame for ideation for a video until it's been completely edited and ready to publish?
Okay. Well, the way we roll is we produce a lot of content, and so we plan out our entire content for the quarter, and then we shoot it.
Wow.
So we have that, and that's how we create a buffer.
So when you're creating this quarterly ideation, how is that? Is it just you sitting in a room by yourself drinking coffee?
No. We have a content team, and I'm far removed. I mean, I started it in the beginning. I did everything myself. So we do like brainstorming, right? We know who our consumer is, and we think about what would be helpful to these people. What would they like to know? So it's really a gut thing. It comes from inside. Second step is then to look at SEO traffic. Although, especially with YouTube, I think it can be particularly deceptive, because if you're very good in analytics, you may think, wow, I just look at things that perform well, right? Or I've seen this video performed well for another channel, so I make something about the same topic. And it's not necessarily how it works. For example, we had this video about the $100 versus $1,000 suit, which I mentioned before. And all SEO platforms and everyone said there was no search traffic for this. But we just knew from audience, from people want to know if something expensive is worth it versus something cheap. That's just something that we know as people. We know it for the audience. We run it and it worked. So we do a mix between looking at SEO and doing things where SEO tells us do this, and things where we just know our customer and people who come to us and what they truly want. Yeah. And we just have the advantage now that, we have a larger channel. We can just go through the comments. We can ask people. And if you get certain topic suggestions a number of times, there is an interest in that, and we can produce that.
Yeah. Where shall people find you? Find your brand, find your YouTube channel, all that. I'm sure you've got many links to share.
Absolutely, yeah. Just Google Gentleman's Gazette or Fort Belvedere or my name, and it'll pop up.
Okay, and then follow them on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube.
Whatever is your channel, I think people like to be on their channels, and we are on all the major channels, so just pick whatever works for you.
Whatever floats your boat, right?
Exactly, and then enjoy.
Yeah, well,
or don't.
Well, that I could probably talk about YouTube for another 6 or 7 hours. It's a big part of our business, and I love it, and there's really a lot to learn, but I really appreciate what you've shared and your insight, and it's really interesting for me seeing how we do things slightly different than how you guys do it, and they're both successful. So thanks for being on the show, and thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you were able to take away a few extra nuggets and improve the way that you're doing business online. This has been another e-commerce conversation. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Eric, for having me.
And keep on growing.